So guys, this morning we were junking firewood. Now we're just here at the house in the shop playing with these snowmobiles, trying to get them ready for the snow. So my Crossfire here, my 800, I didn't really care for the way the suspension behaved. I never did. The Fox floats are kind of a big disappointment. And as you can see, I've got a 2 1/4 inch powder claw track. I've got my skid rails doubled up, as you've seen in the skid modification video. I had the engine apart in this the second year I owned it, and I installed these Teflon molybdenum pistons by SPX from Royal Distributing. I've got Boyson 2-stage power reeds, and the restrictor plates, when you install those power reeds, are removed. I did some minor port work to the cylinder heads when I had them off. Nothing too crazy, but everything helps. I got a Y pipe onto it. I modified the frog skin airbox. A lot of people don't like this. It's just pantyhose, but no snow gets into it. I drive through the woods, so I don't know how many sets of these frog skins, and if you're driving through powder with a hole in those, you're sucking up a lot of snow. So the big modification. So the sled had these onto it, which they're not bad for, you know, average riding, whatever. But I find, especially in extreme temperatures, not so much the front shocks, but the back shock tends to just bag out. Like, even with 150 pounds into it, you're always laying low in the trail. As for the front ones, I find if you don't keep 70 or 80 pounds into them, they don't pick themselves back up well. And I just, no way could I ever find like a comfortable, happy, you know, ride scenario the whole way around. But I think I found a solution. What I've installed is, I lucked out. A guy not too far away from me, it was about a 100-mile drive or 150 kilometers, something like that. And he junked a Polaris RMK 2012 or 2011. And it had the super long Walker fully adjustable shocks onto it. So I went up last night and picked them up. I actually ended up getting another set for the front there, the white ones. I got both the skid shocks. I only installed one. I'm not sure if I'm going to install that one or not, but he gave me a pretty wicked package deal. So I said, well, now that I spent the money and bought them, what kind of headache and rig and roll is a person going to have to go through to actually make these work in the machine? Now, this is a 2010 Crossfire 800 high output. It had the long Fox floats on it from factory, so for the front, basically I couldn't use the factory block that goes in here, so I just shimmed it with stainless steel washers. I used the factory Polaris bottom 2 pieces that go into the bottom of the shock, because there's like a bearing in there type of thing. There's C-clips, so nothing's loose there in the bottom. It went together nicely. I used the factory Articat bolt. For the top, you can't really see nothing up in there, but for the top, believe it or not, if you pop the bushing out of your Fox float on your Articat, pop the Polaris bushing out of the Walkers, they fit right in perfect to a T. Couldn't believe it. So, Walker versus Fox floats, you just need the sticks. Your bushings will work for you. As you can see, all the old Polaris bushings are there. So, other than that, now this is the part a lot of people aren't going to like. I paid $3 grand for this sled like 10 years ago. I beat the snot out of it. It's my toy. So in order to get at the adjustments, we had to make an incision here, and we had to make an incision there. Now, not a real hard thing to cover up, like I might buy an old rubber boot, just in case there is some snow. This here would be the side I'd be concerned about, because it's the clutch side. That side really doesn't matter too much. But I don't think I'm going to get that much snow debris up in this area. Most of the snow debris off the skis hits in this general area. So the first few runs it's going to be a trial thing, but in order to get at the adjustments, I had to make this hole. But compared to the floats, these are spring and gas shocks, so they retract nicely. So the real concern with my sled, though, the front I could have lived with maybe, but again, this suspension deal, I couldn't turn it down. So for the back now, I did have to do a little bit of rig and rolling. So we got it in there, and the adjustment is side mounted, so it doesn't hit your track. But this center piece here, with your connecting arm, the frame arm, I had to drill a hole roughly an inch back because my spring in this arm connected when I installed this. Whoops. So, I mean, that might bother some people again, but it didn't bother me too much. This thing sits up like a savage now. Like, I've got tons of clearance underneath, and I get a funny feeling this is going to be probably one of my better winners, because I got a brand new power block onto it, and I had the fuel system off this thing the other day, and believe it or not, I could not even fathom how much dirt come out of the fuel system of this thing. It was honestly crazy. Both of the fuel injectors were basically full right to the top with dirt, and no rust, but just dirt. I pounded it out on a napkin, like just set it on have yourself a bench set up and just tap it out on a clean napkin, and holy, the dirt that come out of them was crazy. So other than that, I've got a Jaws can on it. I built the diamond drive. It's got 1100 gearing, like 1100 turbo gearing, and I've got a 5203 center bearing in the diamond drive. And basically, with the horsepower modifications and that diamond drive difference, it's probably 20% faster and has about the exact same power, if not a little bit better. If I would have left the stock gearing into it, it was just basically insane. But we'll see if she'll fire up here for us. Typical. So yeah, you can probably tell by the sound of it, it's pretty friggin' nasty. The the power block clutch, I cannot brag those up enough, guys. Like any machine, I don't care what your horsepower, what your application. If it's something highly modified, call the guys right on the phone, tell them what you got set up, tell them your machine, and they'll make it work for you. Like these things, you can pop the face and adjust that in minutes. I'll just give you a quick shot here. I got an old one sitting here. So you take the crank bolt out for your crank, take this locking nut off, take the washer off, pop the cover, and you got those 3 triangle slots, and you just lift these blocks out, on thread that, and they're just like little quarter weights basically. They're, well, thinner than a quarter, but there's a stack of them in there, so you can adjust right off the get-go. But depending on how high of a launch you want, if you got a modified sled, you might want to tell them to put a stiffer spring in. They tend to have a lower engagement, but it gives you more top end as well. So anyway, that's my sled. The Walker suspension swap went pretty slick. I can tell just by sitting on it here in the building that I'm going to be way happier on the trail with this setup. There's 12 adjustments on the clickers. And again, just look at that ground clearance. I mean, holy. This thing's ready. And just another quick Articat tip. Royal Distributing has these great belts. XTX 5032. They're high performance, and they actually even come with somewhat of a warranty. And you can buy 2 of those for the price of a factory one, and they're about 1 millimeter wider, so they ride in your clutches better, your sled works better. Great product from Royal Distributing there. And another one is Diamond Drive fluid. So you can waste a pile of money on that stuff. Or if you pour it out of the bottle, you'll notice that the factory Diamond Drive fluid is like thin as water. So what I do is I take this 75-140 and I mix it 50-50 with synthetic ATF. And for what that costs, you can change it every time you drive the machine. And you know, I've put about 3,500 miles on that Diamond Drive since I've built it, and I've never had an issue, and I don't think I'm going to anytime soon, because I popped the cover off there earlier and everything looks great inside, nothing's chewing. So you guys that are running these with any power, upgrade that Diamond Drive center bearing to a 5203, bore the case out, and just do it. And again, there's a much cheaper solution to Diamond Drive fluid for you.